St. Mercy's Hospital in Philadelphia closed its doors permanently in March 2009. The official reason was budget cuts and structural concerns. But the nurses who worked on the fourth floor, the Nightingale ward, know the real reason. Some places remember suffering, and some places won't let it end. The Nightingale ward was built in 1923 as a pediatric intensive care unit. For 86 years, it treated the sickest children in Philadelphia. Thousands of children passed through those doors. Most of them survived, but the ones who didn't, they never left. Nurse Rebecca Torres worked the night shift on Nightingale ward from 2005 to 2009. In a 2012 interview, she described what every night shift nurse experienced, but never officially reported. It started around 2 a.m. every single night, Torres said. You'd hear it from the end of the hallway, a child crying, soft at first, then louder. But when you checked the rooms, all the patients were asleep. After a few nights, you learned not to check, because if you walked toward the crying, it would move, always staying ahead of you, leading you deeper into the ward. And if you followed it all the way to the end, to room 412, the crying would stop, and you'd hear something else, breathing, right behind you. Room 412 was different from the other patient rooms. It had been sealed since 1967, after what hospital records only referred to as the incident. The door was locked, painted over, and a supply closet had been built in front of it. But the night shift nurses knew it was there. They could feel it. In 2007, a new nurse named David Chen didn't believe the stories. He thought the veteran nurses were hazing him. So one night, during his break, he moved the supply shelves and found the door to room 412. The lock was old, rusted. Chen had maintenance tools. He opened it. According to his incident report, filed but never officially processed, this is what he found. The room was frozen in time. A hospital bed from the 1960s, still made up with yellowed sheets, medical equipment that hadn't been used in decades, and on the walls, written in what appeared to be crayon, were hundreds of names, children's names. Chen recognized some of them. He'd seen those names on the memorial wall in the hospital lobby, children who had died at St. Mercy's over the decades. But that's not what made him run. On the bed, perfectly preserved as if it had been placed there yesterday, was a stuffed rabbit, white with button eyes. The rabbit was sitting upright, positioned carefully, deliberately, and it was warm. Chen touched it. He describes his hand recoiling from the unnatural warmth, as if something had just been holding it. That's when he heard the voice, a child's voice, small and clear, coming from the corner of the room. "You found Mr. Buttons." Chen turned. There was no one there, but he felt it, a presence, cold air despite the warm rabbit, the smell of antiseptic and something else, something rotten. The voice spoke again. "The others are coming now. They want to meet you." Chen ran. He didn't stop running until he was outside the hospital. He never went back to the fourth floor. Shift tone, more investigative. Hospital Administrator Margaret Voss tried to keep the incidents quiet, but by 2008, the staff was breaking. Nurses were quitting, refusing to work night shifts. Some were requesting transfers to other hospitals entirely. Voss finally investigated the history of room 412. What she found was buried in hospital archives, in records that should have been destroyed decades ago. In 1967, room 412 housed a 9-year-old named Timothy Walsh. He'd been admitted with pneumonia, routine case, expected to recover fully. But Timothy didn't recover. He got worse, fast. His attending physician, Dr. Howard Marsh, documented the decline in increasingly frantic medical notes. Day 3, patient showing signs of severe paranoia, claims there are other children in his room, insists they talk to him at night.
Day 5, patient refuses to sleep, states the children only come when it's dark, describes them as sick like me and waiting for something. Day 7, patient found unresponsive. Upon revival, claims the children told them their names, listed 23 names, cross-referenced with hospital records, all deceased patients from previous years. Pause. Day 9, patient's condition deteriorating despite treatment, no medical explanation. He keeps asking about the breathing man who stands at the foot of his bed, says the man is collecting. Timothy Walsh died on day 10. Cause of death, respiratory failure. But that's not the end of the medical record. 3 days after Timothy's death, Dr. Marsh added a final note, a note that violated every protocol and should have gotten him fired. He wrote, "I saw them. Last night during my rounds, I entered room 412 to collect the deceased patient's belongings. The room was empty, body had been moved to the morgue, but when I turned to leave, there were children in the doorway, 6 of them, translucent, wrong. They were looking past me, into the room, at something behind me. I turned. There was a figure standing by the bed, tall, wearing what looked like old surgical clothes. Its face was wrong, too long, too many teeth. It was holding something, a bag, the kind we use from medical waste. But the bag was moving." Pause. "It looked at me, spoke without moving its mouth, collecting. Then it walked through the wall. The children followed. I am requesting immediate transfer. I will never enter that room again." Dr. Marsh transferred to a hospital in Boston 2 weeks later. Room 412 was sealed. The incident was classified. Until David Chen opened it 40 years later. Move to tone, more revealing. Margaret Voss's investigation uncovered something else, something that finally explained the haunting of the Nightingale ward. Between 1923 and 1967, St. Mercy's Hospital participated in something called the Compassionate Release Program. It was never officially documented, it was never approved by the board, but patient records showed a pattern. Children who were deemed terminal and suffering would sometimes disappear from their rooms overnight. Official cause of death? Complications from illness. But there were no witnesses, no family present, and the bodies were always found in the same place, room 412. Someone had been ending their suffering, quietly, privately, in that room. Someone had been collecting them. Voss found a photograph in the archives from 1955, a hospital staff photo. In the back row, partially obscured, was a tall figure in surgical clothing. The face was blurred, likely a photographic defect, but other staff members in the photo appeared to be standing slightly away from this figure, creating distance. The caption listed all staff by name, but the tall figure had no name, just a notation, "Volunteer Mercy Services." Voss discovered that Mercy Services wasn't an official hospital program. It had no paperwork, no records, no oversight. It just existed. For 44 years, someone or something calling itself Mercy Services had wandered St. Mercy's Hospital, particularly the pediatric ward, particularly with the dying children. And then in 1967, after Timothy Walsh died seeing it, after Dr. Marsh encountered it, it disappeared from records entirely. But according to the night shift nurses, it never actually left. In January 2009, 2 months before the hospital closed, Rebecca Torres had her final encounter. She was doing rounds at 2:47 a.m. when she heard the crying again. This time it was different, multiple children, all crying at once. Against her better judgment, she followed the sound. It led her to the supply closet, the one built in front of room 412. The shelves had been moved aside. The door to room 412 was open. Inside the room, she saw them, dozens of children, translucent, overlapping, some from different eras, 1920s clothing, 1950s, modern hospital gowns, all of them crying. And standing in the center of them, holding that stuffed white rabbit, was Timothy Walsh, still 9 years old, still sick. He looked at Torres and spoke. "It's coming back. It comes back when the hospital is dying, to collect the last of us." Torres asked, "Collect you for what?" Timothy's eyes filled with tears. "We don't know. We've been waiting to find out for so long, waiting in this room. It promised us peace, promised us mercy, but it lied." Lower, almost whisper. "It feeds on our fear, our pain, our waiting. We can't leave, we can't move on. We're stuck between dying and being dead, and it won't let us go." Behind the children, a shadow grew, tall, wrong. The smell of antiseptic and rot filled the hallway.
Timothy's voice became urgent. "Run. Please run. Don't let it see you. If it sees you, it remembers you. And one day, when you're dying, it will come to collect you too." Rebecca Torres ran. She submitted her resignation the next morning. Music reaches a climax. St. Mercy's Hospital closed in March 2009. The building was sold to developers who planned to convert it into luxury apartments. The conversion was never completed. Construction workers reported the same experiences: crying children, cold spots, the overwhelming smell of antiseptic, and a tall figure in surgical clothing walking the halls, carrying something that moved. 3 workers quit after finding room 412. The door had been sealed with concrete during demolition prep. Someone, or something, had broken through the concrete from the inside. The room was empty except for one thing: a stuffed white rabbit, sitting upright on the remains of the hospital bed, still warm. The development company abandoned the project in 2011. St. Mercy's Hospital remains standing, vacant and sealed. But urban explorers who break in report the same thing. Around 2 a.m., you can hear children crying on the 4th floor. And if you're foolish enough to find room 412, you'll see them. Dozens of children, waiting, always waiting. And you'll see it too. The thing that's been collecting them for 100 years, standing in the corner, watching you, adding you to its list. Because now, it's seen you, and it never forgets. Music fades. Rebecca Torres died in 2019 from cancer. She was in hospice care, heavily medicated. But according to her hospice nurse, in her final hours, Torres became agitated, terrified. She kept staring at the corner of her room, saying the same thing over and over. "It's here. The Mercy Man is here. He's come to collect me." Her final words were, "Please, I don't want mercy." The hospice nurse reported smelling antiseptic in the room after Torres died. And in the corner where Torres had been staring, the temperature had dropped 40 degrees. In November 2016, the family of Charlotte Morrison received a voicemail from her phone. This wouldn't be unusual, except for one detail. Charlotte had been dead for 3 years. And the voicemail wasn't a recording, it was live. Charlotte Morrison died on November 8, 2013, in a car accident on Highway 17 outside of Sacramento, California. She was 28 years old. She died instantly when her car was hit by a drunk driver. Her phone was never recovered from the accident. Police assumed that it had been destroyed or lost in the wreckage that was towed and later scrapped. For 3 years, her family grieved. They moved on as best they could. Her mother, Patricia Morrison, kept Charlotte's phone number in her contacts. She couldn't bring herself to delete it. Then, on November 8, 2016, exactly 3 years after Charlotte's death, Patricia's phone rang at 11:47 p.m. The caller ID showed Charlotte's name. Patricia didn't answer. She couldn't. She stared at the phone, hands shaking as it rang 4 times and went to voicemail. A minute later, she had a new voicemail notification. From Charlotte. Patricia called her husband Frank and her son Marcus. They gathered in the living room. Together, they listened to the voicemail on speakerphone. This is what they heard. Static. Heavy static. The sound of wind or rushing air. Then, faintly, a voice. Mom? Mom? Can you hear me? It was Charlotte's voice. Unmistakably hers, but wrong. Distant, like she was calling from very far away. Patricia started crying. Marcus grabbed the phone, hands trembling. Charlotte's voice continued. I don't know where I am. It's dark. So dark and cold. Mom, why is it so cold? I've been trying to call for so long. Does time work different here? How long has it been? I can't remember. I can't remember how I got here. More static. Then, there are others here. I can hear them calling too. Calling their families, but no one answers. Mom, why won't you answer? The voicemail ended, 43 seconds total. Patricia was hysterical. Frank called the police. They filed a report, but what could the police do? Investigate a phone call from a dead person? The detective assigned to the case, Lisa Yamamoto, was skeptical. I assumed it was a cruel prank, Yamamoto said in a 2018 interview. Someone had gotten hold of old recordings of Charlotte's voice and was using them to harass the family. But then, Detective Yamamoto pulled the phone records. The call had originated from Charlotte's original phone number, the same number that had been deactivated 3 years earlier, the same number that no longer existed in any carrier system. More disturbing, the call's cell tower triangulation placed it at the exact location of Charlotte's accident, Highway 17, mile marker 43, in the middle of the night, in a location where there was no cell service. So how had Charlotte's phone called from there? The Morrison family received another voicemail on November 15th, same time, 11:47 p.m., same caller ID. This time, Patricia answered. According to Patricia's statement, this is what happened. I answered and said, Charlotte. There was static. Then I heard her voice. She said, Mom, I can see you. I can see the house. I'm outside. Can you let me in? I'm so cold. I looked out the window. There was nothing there, just darkness. I told her I couldn't see her. She said, I'm here. I'm right here. Why can't you see me? Mom, am I still dead? Patricia asked, Charlotte, where are you? Charlotte's voice became panicked. I don't know. I'm in the car. I'm still in the car. It's dark, and there's glass everywhere, and I can smell smoke, and I can't get out. Why can't I get out? Mom, I've been here for so long, trying to get out. The door won't open, the windows won't break, and there's something outside the car, walking around it. I can hear it breathing. Patricia was sobbing. What is it? What's outside? Charlotte whispered, I don't know, but it won't let me out. Every time I almost get free, it pushes me back in. It wants me to stay here. Mom, I think I'm going to be here forever. The call disconnected. Patricia collapsed. Frank called 911. While they waited for the ambulance, Patricia's phone rang again. Charlotte's name, 11:53 p.m. This time, Marcus answered. Marcus recorded this call. The audio file still exists. Detective Yamamoto has it in evidence storage. Charlotte's voice on the recording. Marcus, is that you? Marcus, Charlotte, what's happening to you? I'm trapped. I've been trapped since the accident. I thought I died, but I didn't. Or I did, but something went wrong. I can't move forward. I can't go back. I'm stuck in the moment of impact. That's impossible. I can
see it happening over and over. The headlights, the collision, the pain. But it never ends. It just resets, and I'm aware through it all. Marcus, I've died thousands of times, and I keep dying over and over. And the thing outside the car, it's feeding on it, on my death. Every time I die, it gets stronger. That's why it won't let me go. What thing? What are you talking about? Charlotte's voice changed, became terrified. It's here. It's looking in the window. Oh God, Marcus, it's not human. It's wearing something. Wearing someone. It looks like the driver. The drunk driver who hid me. But it's not him. It's something else. Something that was waiting at the accident site. It collected him. And it collected me. And it's been feeding on us ever since. Marcus, how do we help you? You can't. But you need to warn people. It's not just me. There are others. So many others. Every accident on this highway, every death, it collects them, traps them in their final moments. We're all here, all dying, again and again, forever. Static increased. Charlotte's voice became distant. Marcus, I have to go. It's coming closer. It wants me to stop calling, but I'll try again. I'll keep trying. Please, please don't forget me. Don't let me disappear into this.
The call ended. The Morrison family received 17 more voicemails over the next 6 months, all at 11:47 p.m., all from Charlotte. Each voicemail was worse than the last. Detective Yamamoto expanded her investigation. She researched other fatal accidents on Highway 17 over the past 20 years. She found 43 deaths, car accidents mostly, some pedestrians struck by vehicles, one motorcyclist. Yamamoto contacted the families of the deceased, asked a simple question. Have you received any unusual phone calls from your loved one's number? 31 families said yes. 31 families had been receiving voicemails from the dead, all originating from the same location, mile marker 43 on Highway 17, all at the same time, 11:47 p.m., all describing the same thing, being trapped, dying repeatedly, something feeding on them. One mother, whose son had died in 2009, had been receiving weekly voicemails for 7 years. She played one for Detective Yamamoto. Mom, I've lost count of how many times I've died now. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. The thing is patient. It waits. And when I die, it absorbs something from me, a piece of me. I can feel myself getting smaller, disappearing. One day there won't be anything left. Another family, who lost a daughter in 2011, reported their voicemails had recently stopped. The last message they received said, I'm almost gone now. The thing has taken almost everything. I can barely remember who I was. Soon I'll just be fuel, just energy, just screaming. Tell everyone I loved them. Tell them The message cut off mid-sentence. They never heard from her again. Detective Yamamoto staked out mile marker 43 on multiple nights. She brought recording equipment, electromagnetic field detectors, everything she could think of. On December 1st, 2016, at 11:47 p.m., her equipment went wild. The EMF detector spiked, the temperature dropped 30 degrees in seconds, and her phone, which had no service at this location, showed a call coming in from her own number. Yamamoto answered. Her own voice spoke to her. You shouldn't have come here. It sees you now. Yamamoto, who is this? Her voice, I'm you, or I will be. In 3 years, when your car slides on black ice at this exact spot, when you die at this exact location, I'll be here, trapped, and I'll call you to warn you, just like I'm doing now. But you won't listen. You'll think it's a trick. You'll keep investigating, and in 3 years, you'll die here anyway, because it's already decided. The thing at mile marker 43 has already chosen you. Yamamoto dropped the phone, ran to her car, drove away. She requested a transfer to a different jurisdiction the next day. The Morrison family received their last voicemail from Charlotte on May 8, 2017. Charlotte's voice was barely recognizable, weak, fading. "Mom, I can't hold on much longer. It's taken almost everything. I don't remember what I looked like. I don't remember my life. I just remember dying, over and over and over. But I want you to know, even though I'm trapped here, even though I'm being consumed, I can still feel your love. It's the only thing keeping any part of me alive. When I'm finally gone, when there's nothing left of me, I'll become part of it, part of the thing. And I don't want that. I don't want to hurt other people. So please, please forget about me. Let me go. If you stop loving me, if you stop remembering me, maybe I can finally disappear. Maybe that's better than becoming what it wants me to become. I love you, Mom. Goodbye." The Morrison family never received another call, but other families on Highway 17 still do. Every night at 11:47 p.m., somewhere in Sacramento, a phone rings. A dead person calls their family, begs for help, describes their endless dying. And in 2019, Detective Lisa Yamamoto died in a car accident on Highway 17, mile marker 43, black ice. Her family has been receiving voicemails ever since. Her voice calling from the dark, telling them she was right, telling them she's trapped, telling them that one day they'll be trapped there too, because the thing at mile marker 43 is patient, and it's always hungry. If you drive Highway 17 at night, you might see them. Headlights in your rearview mirror, following too close, getting closer. And if you see them, check your phone. You might have a voicemail from yourself, warning you that it's already too late. In April 2015, patients at Riverside Memory Care Facility in Portland, Oregon began reporting the same nightmare. An old woman in a white nightgown standing at the foot of their beds, watching them, stealing their memories. At first, the staff dismissed it as confusion. These were dementia patients. Nightmares and delusions were common. But within a week, 23 patients described the exact same figure. Extremely old, skin thin as paper, long white hair, eyes completely white, no iris, no pupil, unnaturally tall, perfectly still. And they all described the same sensation, memories leaving their minds like steam, and the woman breathing them in. Then the decline began. George Mitchell had moderate Alzheimer's when the nightmares started. He recognized his daughter, remembered his childhood, could feed himself. 2 weeks later, he was nonverbal. He didn't know his own name. His daughter told investigators, he declined more in 2 weeks than he had in 2 years. The doctors said it was impossible. But it wasn't just George. Patients who had been stable for years began losing decades of memory in days, and every one of them had seen the woman. Dr. Rebecca Walsh, the facility's head neurologist, ran every test available: MRI, CT scans, blood work, spinal taps. Nothing explained the acceleration. Their brains were deteriorating as expected for dementia, just 10 times faster. One patient, Martha Rodriguez, gave more detail. "She smiles when she takes them," Martha said. "The memories. I can see them floating between us. Little lights, some bright, some dim. She takes the bright ones first. Last night she took my wedding day. I watched it drift toward her, me in my dress, my husband waiting. She breathed it in, and now there's just empty space." Within days, Martha no longer remembered being married. Then something changed. On April 28th, Amanda Chen, the nurse who first logged the complaints, had the dream herself. She awoke at 3:17 a.m., unable to move. The old woman stood at the foot of her bed. She was wrong, Chen later said. Too tall, too still. Her eyes were white voids. Chen felt a pulling sensation in her head. Wisps of light drifted from her forehead toward the woman's mouth. "My high school graduation disappeared," she said. "I tried to remember it. Nothing, just blankness." The woman took 3 more memories before fading away. The next day, Chen couldn't remember the names of half her patients. Memories she relied on for work, gone. Dr. Walsh contacted neurologist Dr. James Park, a specialist in sleep paralysis. Park initially suspected mass hysteria combined with stress. Shared delusions weren't unheard of in medical environments. But the data disturbed him. The memory losses weren't random. One patient lost only his military service. Another, her children's childhoods. Another forgot her hometown entirely. Specific memories were vanishing, cleanly, precisely. Park decided to stay overnight. At exactly 3:17 a.m., every camera in the facility went to static. When the feed returned 3 minutes later, 5 patients reported the nightmare. Park had seen her too. In his research notes, he wrote, "She appeared at the foot of my bed. I was awake, fully conscious, but unable to move. This was not sleep paralysis. She reached into my mind, sampling, selecting. She took my first kiss. I remember being 16, under the bleachers, but the memory itself, the feeling, the face, the moment is gone." Park described seeing something inside her white eyes. Storage, like a library, millions of memories preserved. She's been doing this for a very long time. Park left Riverside the next day and refused further interviews. The nightmares continued. Then the deaths began. In May 2015, 3 patients died within a week. All had reported nightly visits for over a month. Before death, they entered vegetative states. No speech, no recognition, no response. Official cause, complications from dementia, but staff disagreed. "They didn't die from dementia," Amanda Chen said. "There was nothing left of them. Every memory, every experience, gone." One patient, Ellen Matthews, left behind a journal. Her final entry read, "She's taken almost everything now. My children's names, my wedding, my parents' faces. I asked her why. She said she is ancient, hungry, that memory belonged to the earth before it belonged to us. She said she keeps them, preserves them, that when we die, memories die with us, but she saves them. She called herself the Library of the Forgotten. Tonight, she took my ability to write. I can feel it fading even now." The entry ended mid-sentence. Riverside Memory Care closed in August 2015. Official reason, restructuring. Patients were transferred. Most died within 6 months. Staff scattered. Several left medicine entirely. But the nightmares didn't stop. Former patients reported seeing her in new facilities. Staff reported waking at 3:17 a.m. in their own homes. Since 2015, over 60 similar cases have been reported across 7 states. Always the same description. Always 3:17 a.m. Always involving people connected to memory loss. As if she's drawn to fading minds. Dr. James Park committed suicide in 2018. His note read, "I can't remember why I loved my wife. I know I did, but something took it. I can't live like this." In his final weeks, he'd reported something new. He wasn't just losing memories, he was gaining them. Memories that weren't his. Someone else's wedding, someone else's childhood, someone else's first day of school. Fragments of lives he never lived. The old woman wasn't just taking memories. She was redistributing them, rebuilding people from scraps of the forgotten. And perhaps that's the most disturbing part. If she truly preserves every memory she steals, then somewhere inside that endless internal library, every forgotten moment still exists. Every childhood laugh, every wedding vow,
Every first love. Not gone, just stored, waiting. If you wake at 3:17 a.m. and can't move, if you see a tall figure in white at the foot of your bed, if you feel something tugging gently at your thoughts, hold on. Revisit your memories often. Speak them aloud. Look at photographs. Tell your stories. Keep them bright. Because the dim ones, the fading ones, the ones you haven't thought about in years, those are the ones she takes first. And once she takes them, you won't remember they were ever there. You'll just feel empty, like something important is missing, but you can't remember what.